For countless seniors around the world, the simple act of walking, once effortless, joyful, and taken for granted, has become a daily reminder of stiff joints, aching knees, and the frustrating loss of mobility that often accompanies aging. But what if a centuries-old secret from Japanese culture held the key to reversing much of that pain and regaining comfort, flexibility, and independence, all without pills, surgeries, or complicated exercise routines? In the heart of rural Japan, particularly among older generations, there's a subtle yet powerful method of walking that has been quietly practiced for generations. A technique rooted in the movements of samurai, refined through martial arts like Aikido and Tai Chi, and later adopted by elders in mountain villages who, remarkably, live well into their 90s and beyond with minimal joint discomfort. This method, often referred to as Namba Uruki or the samurai walk, emphasizes a synchronized movement where the arm and leg on the same side move together, unlike the modern gait where we swing opposite limbs. While this may sound counterintuitive, this coordination minimizes spinal torsion, reduces stress on the knees and hips, and shifts the load distribution throughout the body more evenly, particularly through the core and thigh muscles, which are better suited to handle strain. When practiced correctly, this walking style can dramatically lower the impact on joints that are already inflamed or worn down by years of repetitive microtrauma. More fascinating still is that this technique also taps into the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the body, slowing the heart rate, and encouraging better blood circulation, benefits that are especially crucial for seniors suffering from arthritis, osteoporosis, or long-term joint degeneration. Unlike aggressive Western rehab approaches or high-impact cardio routines that often cause more harm than good for seniors, this walking method is gentle, fluid, and surprisingly restorative. Studies from Japanese geriatric institutes have shown that older adults who consistently practice this technique experience a noticeable reduction in joint pain, improved balance, and increased range of motion in as little as 3 weeks, with some reporting up to a 70% decrease in discomfort over 2 months. The brilliance of this method lies in its simplicity. No need for expensive equipment, fancy gyms, or personal trainers. You don't need to move to Okinawa or climb Mount Fuji to experience these benefits. In fact, you can start practicing this right in your living room, garden, or neighborhood park simply by focusing on how your limbs move in harmony, keeping your spine upright, and maintaining a slow, deliberate pace. But the technique is only one piece of the puzzle. Japanese elders also combine this form of walking with a mindful breathing rhythm and a posture awareness technique called hara centering, which places emphasis on engaging the muscles around the lower abdomen, thought to be the body's energetic core. This practice stabilizes the pelvis and improves coordination, further reducing pressure on the knees and hips while giving you a greater sense of groundedness. What's even more compelling is that these seniors rarely suffer from the chronic fatigue or dizziness that often plagues Western seniors. Why? Because this walking method is not just physical, it's deeply neurological. It retrains the brain's proprioceptive system to respond with better posture, smoother gait transitions, and quicker reflexes. Modern science is now catching up to what Japanese tradition has known for centuries. Joint pain isn't always about worn-out cartilage or bone spurs. Often, it's the brain's failure to coordinate movement in a way that supports natural biomechanics. And Namba walking corrects that at its root. For seniors frustrated with medications that only mask pain or disappointed by physical therapy routines that feel like punishment, this ancient technique offers a welcome alternative that is both empowering and effective. Many people over 60, once skeptical, are now reporting increased confidence walking upstairs, fewer falls, and even restful sleep due to reduced nighttime joint throbbing, all from dedicating just 15 minutes a day to this form of movement. In a world of quick fixes and complex solutions, Sometimes the answer to chronic pain is hidden in the graceful wisdom of a forgotten practice passed down through generations of resilient, mobile, pain-free elders. The reason this ancient Japanese walking method has flown under the radar for so long, especially in Western health circles, is because it challenges many of the conventional beliefs around posture, biomechanics, and mobility training that are deeply entrenched in modern rehabilitation programs. Most physical therapy for seniors emphasizes linear motion, step-by-step movement that prioritizes muscle activation over whole-body fluidity. Yet in traditional Japanese practices, movement is seen not as isolated limb motion, but as a whole-body expression originating from the core and radiating outward in perfect harmony. This shift in understanding is critical for older adults whose joints no longer tolerate abrupt or uneven strain. The Nambo walking method, with its same-side arm-leg coordination, reintroduces a gentler form of locomotion that more closely mimics the body's natural anatomical rhythm, especially in its youth, before years of incorrect habits, footwear, and sedentary lifestyles took hold. Think about how toddlers walk. Their entire torso moves as one unit, and there's little torsion or forceful impact on the joints. The Japanese elders have essentially preserved this principle and applied it to senior health with remarkable success. What's even more striking is that this walking style encourages micro-engagement of stabilizing muscles that typically weaken with age, such as the gluteus medius, the lower abdominals, and the deep postural muscles of the spine. As these muscles gently reawaken, they create a natural bracing effect around the hips and knees, offering better joint protection without the need for cumbersome braces or supports. And because this method also slows the pace of walking slightly, it promotes more conscious control with each step, reducing the chances of slips, falls, and missteps that are so common and dangerous among seniors. In fact, data from fall prevention programs in rural Japan reveal that seniors who practice this style of walking report fewer falls and demonstrate faster reaction times on balance tests compared to those following standard gait correction therapies. Additionally, there's an interesting metabolic angle to this walking technique. Because the movement recruits more core and stabilizer muscles, it slightly elevates energy expenditure, which can aid in weight control, an often overlooked but significant contributor to joint pain. Even just a modest reduction in body weight can dramatically decrease the stress placed on the knees and hips, and when combined with a walking form that inherently reduces pressure, the results can be transformative. Furthermore, Japanese walking culture often includes walking barefoot or in minimalist footwear, which strengthens the intrinsic muscles of the feet and promotes better arch support, toe alignment, and overall stability, again reducing the load on already stressed joints. Seniors who begin practicing this technique often report surprising side benefits, such as improved digestion, reduced lower back stiffness, and even sharper mental clarity, likely due to increased blood flow and neural engagement involved in the coordinated, mindful movement. There's also a psychological benefit that can't be overlooked. Seniors practicing this form of walking often describe a sense of calm, confidence, and empowerment returning to their lives. No longer afraid of walking outside or climbing a few stairs, they reclaim a freedom that many had quietly grieved as lost. This walking style becomes more than just a technique. It becomes a daily ritual, a moving meditation that restores dignity, strength, and presence to every step. And it's not only beneficial to those already in pain. Even seniors with relatively healthy joints find that adopting this technique helps preserve their mobility, prevent future injuries, and maintain strong posture well into their 80s and 90s. In essence, this isn't just a way to walk. It's a lifestyle choice rooted in harmony, balance, and sustainable wellness. As more research continues to validate its benefits and word spreads from village clinics in Japan to physical therapy practices around the world, it's only a matter of time before this humble, ancient approach to walking becomes a cornerstone of modern senior health. To truly appreciate why this Japanese walking method works so powerfully for seniors, you have to look at how it subtly retrains the nervous system through repetition and rhythm. Modern life encourages walking in a disjointed, hurried manner, arms flailing, posture slouched, eyes glued to the ground or a phone, whereas the Namba walk brings everything back into intentional alignment, both physically and neurologically. This walking technique, used by messengers and samurai centuries ago to travel long distances without fatigue or injury, has now found its way back into elderly rehabilitation because it engages the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state of calm that is essential for healing. When the body feels safe and relaxed, muscles don't seize up in anticipation of pain, which is especially important for those living with chronic joint inflammation. Walking in this way actually lowers cortisol levels over time, which helps manage weight, reduce systemic inflammation, and improve sleep. 3 factors that directly influence joint recovery and long-term pain management. Studies now show that repeated, slow, same-side movement, like in the Namba technique, creates new neural pathways that improve proprioception, the body's ability to sense position and motion in space. Seniors who lose this sense often find themselves stumbling, dragging one leg, or feeling disoriented in the dark. But by re-engaging this ability through deliberate walking, many regain not just balance, but also confidence in their mobility. And because the method reduces torsion or twisting of the torso, it also protects the lower spine and sacroiliac joints, common areas of degeneration in seniors. One of the overlooked consequences of Western walking techniques is the subtle strain caused by opposite arm-leg movement, which, while efficient for speed, can create cumulative microstresses in older bodies with already reduced flexibility and lubrication in their joints. With Namba, the whole body movement harmonizes as a single wave, reducing jerkiness and improving fluidity. In fact, traditional Japanese architecture, which requires walking through narrow sliding doorways and sitting on the floor, encouraged generations to develop strength through upright posture and controlled steps, something this walking style reinforces with every stride. You might wonder how this actually looks in practice for a senior today. Picture an elderly woman in a rural Japanese village, walking slowly through a garden in her slippers. Her right arm and right leg move forward at the same time. Her back is straight. Her gaze is forward but soft, her breathing calm. Each step is intentional, deliberate. She's not rushing, she's flowing. It's not just exercise, it's therapy. This is not the kind of movement you see at a gym or during high-intensity training. It's the kind of subtle, intelligent movement that adds years to your joints and vitality to your day. And the benefits don't end at physical pain relief. Seniors who practice this walking method report reduced anxiety, sharper mental clarity, and a deeper sense of connection to their surroundings. This is no coincidence. Walking in a mindful, rhythmic way synchronizes the 2 hemispheres of the brain and activates what neuroscientists now call the default mode network, a system linked to memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and even spiritual insight. Essentially, when you walk like this, you're healing your joints and your brain at the same time. The act of moving becomes a bridge to better cognition and emotional health. Japanese researchers studying centenarians have found that those who retain mobility and cognitive sharpness well into their 90s tend to have movement practices grounded in tradition, and walking, especially this form, is a common thread. It's also been found that walking this way shortly after meals improves digestion and blood sugar levels, which is a critical insight for seniors dealing with metabolic conditions like type 2 diabetes that often aggravate joint health. In sum, this walking technique is more than a quaint cultural artifact. It is a time-tested, scientifically supported method that gently rewires the body for optimal aging, with joint pain reduction being only one of its many remarkable benefits. Once seniors begin integrating this ancient Japanese walking method into their daily routine, even if only for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. The transformation could be nothing short of astonishing, not only in terms of reduced joint pain, but in the unexpected revival of energy, mental clarity, and emotional balance. One of the most empowering outcomes reported by elderly individuals who commit to this practice is a renewed sense of agency over their own bodies, a feeling that the creeping stiffness, swelling, and discomfort once assumed to be a permanent part of aging are actually reversible, at least in part, through gentle, intentional movement. And it's not just anecdotal. Physical therapists across the globe have started incorporating this style of walking into rehabilitation programs for patients recovering from knee replacements, hip surgeries, and even lower back injuries, recognizing that its symmetrical movement reduces shear forces across joints and improves core engagement without the need for strenuous exertion or impact-heavy motion. What makes this method so universally effective is its adaptability. It requires no expensive equipment, no trainer, no special location. Whether you live in a city apartment or a countryside cottage, you can walk in this way on a smooth hallway floor, a garden path, or even in place, focusing on posture, breath, and the same side arm-leg rhythm. Seniors who struggle with traditional exercise routines due to arthritis, fatigue, or balance issues often find this method far more approachable and sustainable because it meets them where they are, gently coaxing the body back into alignment rather than forcing it through pain. In fact, the meditative aspect of this walking method turns it into a moving mindfulness practice, which not only calms the nervous system, but also boosts serotonin and dopamine levels, neurochemicals essential for joint lubrication, inflammation control, and overall mood. It's no wonder then that this ancient technique has endured for generations among Japan's longest living elders. What may surprise many is that the benefits of this walking style compound over time, meaning the longer you practice, the more resilient and fluid your joints become. Small improvements like better knee tracking, reduced ankle swelling, and looser hips begin to manifest in just a few days. And within weeks, many seniors find they're standing taller, sleeping better, and waking up with less morning stiffness. But what's perhaps most moving about this ancient technique is how it reconnects people, especially older adults who may feel forgotten or sedentary, with their own body's natural rhythm and dignity. In a world that often sidelines seniors, telling them to slow down or sit still, this method offers a respectful counter-narrative that with the right movement, the aging body is not in decline, but in transition, capable of healing, growing, and surprising itself. And as studies continue to show, those who walk daily in this rhythmic, same-side pattern tend to maintain independence longer, need fewer medications for joint pain, and have fewer falls and injuries over time. Families who see their elderly loved ones struggling with chronic pain, poor mobility, and the emotional toll that comes with it should strongly consider encouraging this approach not as a cure-all, but as a daily anchor. Something as simple and ancient as a walk can become the very foundation of a healthier, longer life. Whether it's practiced in the quiet moments before breakfast, during an afternoon stroll under the sun, or even indoors while listening to calming music, this walking method offers a profound return to harmony that modern exercise fads simply cannot replicate. It reawakens the body's internal intelligence and gives seniors the confidence to move not just more, but better. In the end, perhaps what makes this method truly magical isn't just the physical relief it brings, but the quiet message it sends to every aching joint, every tight tendon, and every tired step that you are still alive, still in motion, and still capable of profound transformation, one soft step at a time. Thank you for spending your time with us here on Healthful Living 60+. If this video helped you learn something new, feel seen, or feel supported in your health journey, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with a friend or loved one who might benefit too. We believe every senior deserves to live not just longer, but stronger, with more comfort, joy, and clarity. Be sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest life-changing tips, natural remedies, and doctor-backed insights designed specifically for the 60-plus community. And remember, it's never too late to feel better, move easier, and live the vibrant life you deserve. Until next time, stay well, stay hopeful, and keep thriving, because your best years are still ahead.